10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Welcome to Idiot Blog 405. And I'm talking to Jason Jacobs today. We're going to call him in a few seconds here after we check the simulcast is working properly and that the blog is going out to the viewers. And, dude, it's kind of funny because he lives on the opposite side of 405 as I do, all the way down in Cali. And I'm all the way up in Washington. Well, I'm going to go ahead and do it to it. I'm going to go check that everything is working. Popping into the YouTube control room. The YouTube control room and the Facebook to double check it's all working. Looks like it's on Facebook just fine. Drop a like on my own post on Facebook, as I think it helps on Facebook. Close up the app itself. Go into the control room on YouTube here. I'm going to do a little thing where I pop the chat out of the window. Might as well get my Monster opened up. I'll open up this beer I got here in a second. It'll be Metal Monday Burp and Slurp live interview here on Idiot Blog. Oh yeah. Alright, looks like it's working. It's a doozy. Checking all these settings before we just get going. Enable live chat, enable replay of chat. No timing, no slow mode. Pop out the chat. Change the shape of that window. Boom. There we go. And you may notice I got a little bit different surround going here. Looks a little different. It's still the stars, but the Idiot Blog down there is a little bit squished so my logo doesn't overlap the Idiot Burns little thing in the corner. And that thing down there to the right of the G on the Idiot Blog. And then I got 3 icons and locations on the left here instead of just 2. So you know where we're at. That's where we are. Depending on what platform, that's the username right there. No big deal. We got Ron Swansong already on, and we'll be calling Jason Jacobs in just a second here. You go ahead and pull that chat window up on top of the view here so I can see all the chats. Jason Jacobs is in the room already. Hopefully we don't get too much lag here as I use up all the bandwidth of the internet to load his massive metal tunes. Who knows? Seems like we got a little bit of something going on, but it should be just fine. Yeah, it seems a little bit glitchy today. There's one thing I can do real quick. Let me go try it. I'll be right back. disappeared. See if it works. No way to know for sure if that worked, but it's worth a shot. Satellite. I ain't gonna play any Dave Matthews here on the blog. But I am going to give Jason a call because, whatever, it is what it is. So I'm going to give him a call right here. Bring him on the show. There it is. It's ringing. Greetings. I can't do video. I gotta do regular chat. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good. Turn your music down.
It defaulted to video right away.
What was that?
It defaulted to video for me. I was like, no video!
You're trying to suck my bandwidth up. I know how it is. It's doing it again. I'm just going to hit cancel when it does that.
There you go.
Nice. How's your evening, Jason?
Going pretty good, man. Going even better now.
Hell yeah. You know what's funny? It's Idiot Blog 405, and you're on the 405, and I'm on the 405.
The 405, dude. Travel forever.
Dude, it starts right north of my neighborhood.
It goes all the way to San Diego and into Mexico.
Sweet. Now I know if I need to escape during the next time the Capitol's on fire.
Yeah, literally, you can drive like all the way to Canada or the other way if you want.
Well, it doesn't go quite to Canada. You got to get on I-5 when you hit Kent.
Oh, yeah. Well, you would know about that, not me.
It ends right at Boeing Field, basically.
Shit hits the fan, I'm just hitting the ocean. I'm going the opposite way, you know what I mean?
Right, all right. I'm going to go find an abandoned lake in the middle of the state where nobody lives.
That's not a bad idea.
Right. I'll fight bears, not people.
I'll fight sharks, man.
Shit, man. How's your evening going, dude?
Good, man. I was getting a little tired, and then I was like trying to psych myself up, and as the hour approached of our interview, I just energy levels started getting super high. Like, you know what I mean? Like I was about to record a song.
Hell yeah, dude.
Cool, I'm excited.
That happens to me too. I get done with these blogs and I'm up till like 2 in the morning. I'm like, oh shit. I got amped on that blog.
Feeding on the energy of someone else is a real thing. It's just, it's not like technically feeding, you know what I mean? We're actually like helping each other out.
Right, it's like it's kind of like a feedback loop.
Yeah, we talked about this before.
Yeah.
Once the positivity starts, man, it just keeps going.
It's like a tornado.
Amplified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tornado of energy. That's the name of the next song.
There we go, bro.
We're listening to your Rise, Pantera Rise here. It's time to rise.
I did that in one take, man, if you can believe that.
Hell yeah. That means you must listen to and play a lot of Pantera.
For sure, dude. They're one of my favorite bands.
Dude,
always.
same.
Bill
Dude,
is
same.
like one of my top singers of all time. Put aside all his,
fuck
controversial shit. The dude's an awesome singer.
You're supposed
man.
to have that kind of controversial shit in order to write lyrics like Rise. or
To be deep, for sure, man. To know, like, anybody can write it and say it, but do you know it, you know?
Yes, yeah.
Exactly.
right,
He speaks from authority, and I like that, man.
regular people.
Yeah.
But Rise, it's funny because people, they think, they his shit's controversial, his opinions or whatever. But just listen to the lyrics and Rise.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Dude.
They're not exactly about, like, destroying everything. They're more about coming together for
Right.
the common good.
Right. There's another one.
Maybe,
Rise.
tear down the old system a little bit, but,
What's that one? There's regular
Yeah,
people
they're
conceit.
funky.
There's Rise. Then there's another one right in that same section of that album. I gotta go look up Vulgar Display so I can think of the name of this.
Heresy?
No, it's not that one. Heresy's sick.
Vulgar Display. It's not Cowboys from Hell. Yeah.
Vulgar Display. Okay, I gotta look at the track list. No Good, Attack the Radical.
Attack the Radical.
It's right between Regular People and Rise. It's the song after Rise. It goes, militants and living in your city, such a pity, you know what I mean? And if you listen to the lyrics and you're just listening ambiently, it might sound like totally like racist. But when you look at the lyrics, you're like, oh no. He's saying if one man lived alone without variety, he'd have no one to talk to.
It's interesting you say that because I don't know a lot of people that delve deep into metal lyrics like we do, or maybe people do, but
Right.
it's a thought that I had that not a lot of people delve deep into metal because, metal,
I think some of the guys that do metal, they don't use they like metal because think about it like this. You say something that predominant, right? And you're Zach De La Rocha, and then everyone's like, dude, he's so political. And your band is instantly politicized. But if you're in a metal band and you're screaming it, a good half of the people don't even understand exactly what you're saying or every word or get the meaning. And you're like, you can kind of hide behind it. It's like a veil,
That's the thing, man. That's one of the reasons why Slayer never got, like, embedded or like, bombarded with, like, a lot of those accusations.
Right.
Oh, yeah, on the inside they did, but not on the outside. Nobody really knew. They just didn't like the band,
I love the way that his name is Tom, right? The singer and Slayer, bassist.
Yeah, Tom Araya.
Yeah, Araya. That guy, I love the way he sings because it's almost not singing. It's almost not singing. He definitely has a conscientious key framing of his vocals, right? But it's
when you hear him,
it's like
yeah,
it's like yelling. Like you might yell in an argument.
Yeah, the way that he sings is based a lot on his speech patterns, the way that he talks in real life. So
right.
Yeah, a lot of singers do that too, and it's super. I mean, that's our best weapon, really, when it comes to using our voices, is using what we're familiar with.
Right. Right.
It's true. It's true.
That's why you see, it's actually what happens is people of different eras. Let's just say a 60-year-old guy versus a 45-year-old guy. A 60-year-old guy's singing is going to be kind of almost somewhere between crooning and 70s rock, right? Then you're going to have a 45-year-old guy, and he's going to be. That's not every time, but he's going to have that grungy kind of thing going on.
Yeah,
and it just
defines who you are.
Yes.
So if you grew up in the Beatles, then you're into the Beatles. You have that style of singing. For sure, I would agree.
Yeah.
But you can change. Also, when you're involved in music for decades, you do change. There's no way that it doesn't.
Right.
You don't stay in the same scene for so long without learning a few tricks.
Yeah, and getting influenced by even just the other bands you play the show with the night before or whatever.
Well, something somebody said to you made you think about listening to a band that you never gave a chance to before. Stuff like that, you know.
Right.
It's
like
really
I just
cool.
heard of this band called Project 86. Ever heard of that?
It sounds familiar, but I don't. No, I'm not really.
I had no idea who they were, and someone did a cover of them right here on BandLab. Matt Dunlap did, and I'm like, who the hell's that? Oh, here you are. You're playing Machine Head by Bush. I wouldn't have guessed that was going to pop on the blog.
Oh, yeah. There's little surprises here and there and everywhere, man.
Speaking of grunge. Breathe in, breathe out.
I love Gavin's voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I hadn't heard that song in like, you know, probably 5 or 6 years, and I was just thinking about it. I was like, I should do a Bush cover because I really like that song. And then I recorded it. You know, I typically do all my stuff in one take, or you know, as few takes as possible.
Right.
So I do it, and then I go back and listen to it, and I'm like, this is pretty good. I liked it, so I published it, and then I went back and listened to Gavin's voice, and I was like, man, I sound nothing like that.
That guy's good.
I was like, I need to redo this. Unpublish, you know.
You know, that guy, there's something about him. He actually was a big part of me starting playing guitar. And the reason was, a lot of us don't admit it, but we started playing because it's cool. And it makes us cooler. Yeah. And it makes girls look at you and go, oh, wait, he's a guitarist? If they see you on stage,
when you learned or when you grew up, for sure. I mean, it can apply more or less. You know, I grew up in the '80s, and I was a kid, so I would say society in general was much more open towards rock and roll and heavy metal back then. Even though there was like stuff like the PMRC and still, you know, there was MTV. There was a lot of major networks that were pushing bands like Van Halen. You know that.
Right.
Now they'll never see the light of day. In today's world, bands like War would never be on TV. You know what I mean?
No. And '90s was the last
90s
of it.
I mean, I leave out the '90s. I'm just saying '80s is what I know.
The '80s.
'90s. I mean, I was drunk most of the time.
The '80s was it. The '80s was it, and the '90s was where it just. It was the last thaw of rock. It was like the last moments. Yeah. From like 90 to 96. Those were the last 5 years, dude. And then even MTV was dying. You know, reality TV came in. Pop music came in. Rap music. And it's not that rock and roll's dead. It's just...
the 90s. In like 96, I stopped playing for a while.
Yeah.
And then like around 99, I got back into the scene, and it was dead. I mean, changed night and day.
Yep.
There was no MTV. There was no...
Yep.
Radio stations like KNAC here in LA that were like world famous were gone.
Yep. And there's kind of a new flavor that came about, like a new era where people just stopped listening to the radio. They goes, fuck it. I'm not listening to the radio. I'm not watching American Idol. I'm not doing, 99 or 2000 or so. People just started clicking it off and just doing their own thing.
The rise of the internet, man.
Yeah, and it was like, fuck, it was cool because everyone was getting home studios, and that allowed them to do their own thing.
Yeah, you know what? I wanted to talk to you about that, because even though we've lost radio stations, look what we have right here, right now. You have your own radio station, man.
Yep. It's pretty cool.
Amazing. Look at behind you. You have an amazing studio. It's so great, dude. Typically, this would never happen in the old, in the 80s and 70s. Yeah. And if you did have something like that, you'd be like the guy from Boston. You would already have a hit record.
Dude, the guy from Boston, MIT graduate. That guy's an MIT graduate, dude. You know that?
Yeah, you know what? I read that he died last year or the year before, unfortunately.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, MIT graduate. Invented Rockman amplifiers.
Yeah. I read that too. Imagine, dude.
Yeah, guy's awesome.
I had a little portable Walkman that was like a Walkman. Yep. You put it on your hip and you plug your guitar into it, and then you plug your headphones into it and you play. And this was in 1988 or so.
And that was one of his products, right?
Dude, I never knew that, man.
Yeah. And he made cool amps too.
I read it in his wiki page or something, but yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, home studios. So
his first album was a home studio, right? You aware of that? Is that why you said this?
The Boston albums were mostly recorded in his home studio.
Yep. And the first one was him doing demos. He did all the instruments.
Yeah, and there's a real funny
like, what?
story behind that, because the label hired. He had to say on paper that he had a full band in order for the label to put the money up on it.
Right.
And so he did, and then he came to LA to sign the contract with the guys in the band, supposedly, quote. And then they all flew back, or he flew back to his studio in Boston or wherever it was, I don't know.
Yeah. Yep.
And then recorded the album by himself.
Idols right there, dude. Idols.
Dude, that is like legendary status right there.
I watched this guy. His name is David Brewster. He's like a YouTuber, and he does these things.
Yeah, I know who he is.
You knew who he is? He does chord play. It's like a late night forays into how music is made. He's kind of like that Beto guy or whatever that guy is, and he kind of breaks down music, and that's how I heard about Boston's history, that musician's history, and all of his importance, if you will. It's pretty cool though, having this radio station, if you will. It's kind of cool. My wife says, you don't make any money, you don't have any obligation. Why do you do it? Why do you get frustrated when things aren't working?
You have a voice.
It's just because
you have a voice, man.
It's a passion, you know. It's
like, you have a voice, and people listen to you. They can hear you, and like that for me is a big thing. That's one of the reasons why I do music, whether we want to believe it or not.
Right.
It gives each one an individual voice that we can, let people hear.
When I was 15, motivation was easy. It was really easy when I was 15. It was like there was,
oh God,
there was wanting to get poontang. There was wanting to be cool. There was wanting to have friends.
Make a little money,
There was wanting to get my anger out. But now that I'm older, I need people around me. I need that tornado of energy from the people around me. So I always think I could feature this guy who's about to quit, and it could make him make his best music,
Oh God, yes, dude. Well, you definitely made a difference in my life, bro. When I joined BandLab, I was a lurker, and I really didn't want to I didn't know the etiquette or rules, and I'm fairly good at communicating. I just needed to dive in, and
right.
You featured me on one of your first blogs, or the first one that I was aware of, and man, that made me feel really, really good.
Heck yeah.
Put the spark in me.
Fuck yes.
And I've talked to just a few people that have told me, "Hey man, your music is awesome. It makes me want to play too." That's what I want to hear. That's why I do it. You know?
Makes you want to make more.
Else at one time, but it's evolved.
Tonus, Tony Dumont. He said when I was 15. He said when I was 15, it was all about booty and moshing. Hell yeah, that's awesome.
Pretty much, yeah. When I was 15, I pretty much lost my mind into guitar and like girls. Like half tossing up between the two.
Yeah.
I see, hey Tony, how's it going? Joey.
Joey, yep. A bunch of people are on, so it's cool. Yeah.
Hey everybody.
We're listening to Cutthroat now. Drop a like on that. That one's cool. It has the screaming, but it also has this kind of other sound you did, where it sounds. I don't know what you did. Is that like a different distortion on your voice, or what is that?
These are the real questions now. I have like two very distinct different singing voices. If you ever
two, more like five, but yeah.
Probably, but two that I like are my go-to ones. One is the very deep, like baritone, it's like that.
Yeah.
And then the other one's the high,
Right.
Like that.
Right. I hear that. I hear that.
Probably what you're hearing is a combination of both of those tracks.
Yes.
Together.
That's probably what it is. It gets this feeling like it's going through a megaphone or something.
Oh yeah. I have a lot of effects that I've spent time. It's a distortion effect that I put on my voice.
Right.
And it gives it a kind of '80s black metal feel, like you're screaming through a little fucking handheld megaphone or something.
Yep, yep. I used to do that, and the bandmate of mine was always like, "Why do you do that?" Yeah.
It's a great gimmick, man.
Like, come on,
it's
man.
It's a really good gimmick, dude.
And I remember it was like a few years later, some band he's listening to was doing it. I'm like, why do they do that? He's like, it sounds great. I'm like, that's exactly what I was doing. I know. I feel bad for saying something.
You know, when I first came on BandLab, I had a different style of playing in mind in the way that I was recording, and BandLab's pretty much changed everything. It's taken me in a different, like, darker, more extreme direction.
Right.
And I don't know if that's just me or if it's the people that I've been playing and listening to, but I like it no matter what it is.
Yeah.
That's you know, that's one of many good things I can say about BandLab.
I'll say
There's
this.
a few bad things.
I have like these different styles, and they were all like melting in one giant witch's brew before I came here. And what I like, it was like, you know, fucking frogs' legs and fucking giants' piss and the eye of a newt and all this shit was all in the same pot. And I was like, wait, I'm gonna take the eye of the newt and put that over with the fish food. I'm gonna take the fucking giant's piss and I'm gonna make a beer out of that. And I kind of started distilling everything down.
Have some potion, my pretty.
What was that?
Have some potion, my pretty.
Yum. Newt's eyes.
Yeah, but I see what you're saying. Like, man, that gives you an outlet for you're like, I wonder what like jazz would sound like with like extreme electro death metal. Let's try it.
And who might sing on this?
Stuff works. You'd be I mean, you wouldn't be surprised, but other people might be surprised at how often like off the wall shit ideas turn into something really big. You know?
Yep. Like I always go to this example. It sticks in my head ever since I heard about it and I heard the story on it, is that Beck, he was in the studio. Beck already is very unconventional with his music.
Oh God, I know this story, dude. It's great.
And how he was in the studio, and this producer goes, I'm gonna go take a long lunch, and then when I come back, if there is not anything good on the tape, they've already recorded like 5 songs or something, then you guys are fucking out of the studio. You're done. Don't come back tomorrow. This is it. It's over. And he comes back, and they've recorded Loser because they felt like fucking losers. And sometimes you have to move quicker for the inspiration to just go through you. And I think BandLab, that's part of it, is that it helps you do that. It helps you go, oh shit, I want to see what people say today about this thing, this idea. Let me just put it down.
Like immediately. Yeah, there's a lag. Like, think about the lag Beck had when he recorded on a, 16-inch tape or whatever. And, had to wait until they okayed it, do mixes and masters. 6 months later, we're hearing the song. But, on BandLab, I had an idea in my head. 10 seconds later, boom, boom, it's recorded in 5.
Right.
It's online in an hour. You know what I mean?
Right.
That urgency and that, yes, I agree.
Yep.
That's whoa, it's like lightning in a bottle for a lot of people. For me,
yeah. And I did SoundCloud.
Wallman Band.
I did
one of my favorite
Yeah.
guys
Say Wallman. Tell me about him. Tell me what we're gonna say.
Great guitarist, man.
Yeah.
He's like a personal friend of mine too. I've gotten to get really close to it. But he also shares a lot of these ideas, and so he's very, just like us, very have an idea right now. I'm going to put it down right now, and that becomes something very, very big.
Yep. And it's cool because that was on SoundCloud, and there was nothing really going on. It was a cool place for me to share my music, to Facebook, and have some of my immediate family maybe take a listen. But they're like, they've heard my metal, and they're like, yeah, it's probably just gonna be another metal song, and I'll click and every 10 songs they might click.
Family. Yes.
And friends are like, oh, I've seen them live already. I've done my part. And then
they either love you or they're just brutally critical every time.
Right.
Dude.
Why don't you do pop? Um,
I've heard them all, man.
Why don't you?
I mean, you probably know all my answers too. My standard one is like, I'm specializing, you know, I'm doing what I know.
Right. Yeah, I don't feel inside like a pop song. You look at me, do you feel like you think to yourself, Chris has probably got pop music inside? Is that what you think, Mom? Do you think
enough people doing pop music? Me and you don't need to be doing that. Like, leave it to the pop people, you know.
She's like,
we'll approach the subjects that people maybe not want to, you know, don't want to look at, and maybe make them think about themselves a little more instead of just like being happy and like, well, what are you doing tonight? I'm going to the bar, you know.
Right. Sometimes I think this. It took me forever to finally get the job at Boeing, and I should have done it earlier. And then I go, but all that experience I have made it so the job's so much easier. So it kind of doesn't make sense. But then I think my mom says this to me, you should do pop music. You're so skilled, you could make it, and then you could have that money. And I'm like, yeah, but these skills, I only developed them playing metal, Mom, because I like metal. I don't have these skills.
Dilemma, dude.
Yeah, I don't have these skills
like
because
so much.
I heard Prince and was like, yes, I gotta learn keyboard. I heard Metallica and I was like, yes.
So
I
if
gotta
the world
learn
dropped
it.
out beneath you. You were like, "Oh my God, there's another world out there."
Maybe someday I'll have a song and it will be as cool as a Pantera song. I think to myself. I don't think. Maybe I'll sound like John Legend someday.
It's the musician's dilemma. Like, you learn so much about all types of music, no matter what you do. I don't care who you are.
Yep.
Playing any kind of music, you just learn about. You just naturally, you're curious about other types of music, and so you compare it to your own. And then you've learned enough at this point that you could actually, like, you could start a pop band, you know, or like write songs for pop bands, you know.
Right.
But
if it
like,
happens, it happens.
What do you get out of that?
It won't happen on purpose. It will just happen by accident. It will happen because over time, I was able to, and I just did by accident. You know what I mean? It won't.
It'll be more like you did it because you wanted to do it. That's the only reason why we really ever do anything in life is because we want to. And like, I'm not going to write pop songs because I just don't want to. It doesn't make me happy. What makes me happy is raging, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
Ranting about everything and like writing it down and like, you know.
I also have this dilemma. Where I used to play football, smash into other dudes as hard as I could. I also used to get in fights, punching and brawling. I like to smash things. If I had a bottle and when I was 15 years old, if you told me, here you go, here's your house, and here's a gun. And your house is out in the woods. Here's a gun, and here's a baseball bat, and here's a shed that needs to get torn down. I would just go at that shit. I would start shooting it. I would start fucking smashing bottles in it. I would crush it to the ground. There's this destructive part of who I am. And
of everybody. I don't care who you are.
No, yes.
That's the way we are. We're
if
cavemen,
I listened to pop music, I'd be in jail with that destructive side. But this music allows me to get enough of that out that I just get in arguments with my wife or something, you know? It's
or you just, by the mere act of thinking it or voicing it, it can be gone from your life and you can go on be productive. Yep. I've learned so much about it. A lot of times I have a bad attitude. I try not to, and in real life, you know, I go around with like, not a chip on my shoulder, but I'm just quietly, you know, observing everything and everybody
and all the fucking shit they do wrong and acting like stupid assholes, and they're just, why did you drive in front of me when you were that close, or whatever the fuck it is.
And a lot of times in life people mistake that for something else, but what I'm doing is just not engaging because I don't know that I can communicate what I'm feeling properly with random strangers on the street. Now, me or you or one of my friends or someone that even chooses to engage in dialogue with me, then yes, I can convey a lot of emotions and how I feel and why, and you know, but like, you know, life sucks, dude. So why bother?
Tonus said
into heavy metal,
Tonus
and then you'll never have to worry about it.
Football is just metal for jocks, and the funny thing is,
and think about all the kids out there that played, you know, that played football, and then once high school is over, they're like, God, I just want to bash my
Well,
wife.
I had no
or, you know
idea
what I
that
mean?
metal.
Like,
I had no idea what metal it was. I knew about some bands. I knew about '80s rock, but I didn't know about the whole metal, the whole era, the whole thing of metal. You know, I came up in the
It probably
'80s. I was
saved a lot
born
of
in
people,
'82. '90s is when I was maturing, and you know, '97. Two of the football players on my football team, who I thought are just jocks. Jocks can't be musicians. Musicians play brass instruments in the band and are totally nerdy and have double chins and glasses, and their four eyes double chinned, wear all gray, right? No way. And they have way too big of bags full of books and backpacks. They're nerds, and they like poetry and choir. There's no way that musicians play football. And then two guys that were on my football team, a safety and a running back, go up in the assembly for the end of eighth grade. They go in the end of 8th grade assembly, and they go up. So it was junior high, and they're in my football team. And I know these guys for 5 years playing football with them. All of a sudden they go up on stage. One of them has a drum kit. One of them has a guitar. What the fuck's gonna happen here? And they play Metallica's Four Horsemen. And I'm like, oh shit. Jocks can play metal. It all makes sense. What is metal? And I start buying Metallica CDs. Fuck, it started the whole thing.
That was like a big step in like growing up, was learning about like that high school is not life, you know? And what you did in high school most probably won't reflect on what you are or what you become in real life, you know, in your adult life. And it's true. I mean, I have friends from high school that are into metal, but like, I have a lot of friends from high school that like got into metal after high school, and some that are in the scene, you know? That became something that like the long-termers never became, you know?
Melvin's guitarist, King Buzzo, didn't even pick up a guitar until he was 18.
Yeah, there's stories like that. There's a lot of, I mean, all it takes is time and patience and the will to you know, to transform yourself.
It's the connection to the instrument, first off, where you start, where it feels like it expresses you. And then it's definitely hours and hours in the bedroom. You don't get good at something going out and doing other things and doing it for 10 minutes a day. Not with cooking, not with metal guitar or even piano, nothing.
But like everything in life, you spend enough time and, you know, you put the hours in, you will become the greatest whatever, you know, by doing it.
Right. A certain level of obsession is required.
Can you imagine Yngwie Malmsteen when he was like 12 years old? He sucked at guitar.
Yeah.
You know, he's got talent, and that's what he had for him.
But there's definitely a day when he sucked compared to his standards.
I always think about that, and I go, yes. So this did happen, right? Whether he was 8, 4, 12, whatever.
One of the things I will say that...
Hey, Yngwie, turn that down, he sucked.
Yeah, exactly. His dad, dish, 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 stop it! 2 years later, thank you for paying all my bills.
Yeah, he's a family man.
Yeah, you know, it's like, there's something about it though. There's like, the thing is it takes also people go, he has a gift. The guy has a gift, right? But the thing is, it's not necessarily a gift. Sometimes what it is...
No, it's not anything that anybody could ever measure or like reproduce either. His kids won't have it.
You know what I think it is for a lot of people is...
It's environment.
If I sit down and I try and play this riff, and it's a really difficult riff, the more I try and the more I stress and the more I think about every note. Hi there, Luella. How you doing? The more I think about every note, what starts to happen is I end up getting worse and worse at the riff. And I'm like, I have to like step away, or I have to like do a different riff to like come back.
Your ambition outweighs your willpower and your patience to learn. I know exactly.
Yngwie Malmsteen doesn't have the same problem with that as we do.
No, he's got some infinite well.
You know, and that's what those greats. Yeah. That's what those greats have. Is they have like Van Halen or whatever. They have that ability to just like let it flow. Their fingers don't
disregard what they think about it and just move on to the next step of learning. Exactly.
I mean, it's one thing to not let a mess up get in your way, but it's another thing to have that affluent let it flow through you, you know?
Or somebody like Eddie Van Halen, like you said, like switching instruments when he's a teenager already, and he was probably ingrained to learn how, you know, playing the drums, and then goes on to become like the greatest guitar player ever. Shut up. That's like a movie, dude.
He had to have that ability to just let it flow through, or that would have broke him.
I have to believe that like him and his brother both rode the same wave. You know what I mean? That's why they're both so good at what they do. Because
just
they both
like Dimebag
together.
And his brother Vinnie Paul, the same thing. My daughter's on here, but sitting on my lap.
Cute,
You got to go put a shirt on. Oh, okay.
And Naked Babies.
Bare Naked Babies. That's a good band name. Oh, there is already Bare Naked Ladies. Oh, dang it.
Yeah, no, this would be like a takeoff on that. It's pretty good.
A roommate of mine always said his favorite band name that he'll never use is Twinkie Dicks.
Oh, that's pretty good, man.
Yeah, and he was in a band called Potty Mouth Society, PMS, and he was in a band called Golden Shower Child. So this guy had some wild ideas.
Jesus.
Golden Shower Child.
When I was a kid, I had one called Public Nuisance. I thought was the best name ever. I was like, Public Nuisance, man.
They're already a Facebook band.
And a band name.
Nope, that's not a shirt.
And then, okay, I had one called God, which is initials GOD. It's Governmental Overdrive, which is another like punk-based, you know. I was like,
yes, God.
Yes, and they'll
go to your room.
They'll be like, put it in. They won't know what it is, and we'll be like, yeah, we're God.
Yes.
It's like, no.
We are God. What is it,
movie,
Luella?
You know what I mean?
They're sleeping? Just go in there. It's okay. Just go in there.
And for every one or two that I have, there's probably, you know, everybody out there has a story where they wrote on their peachy in high school their fake band name, and we're like, you know, we're the Rumblers, man. Don't mess with us. Our hit song is like, you know, Brawl It Out, or you know, you're like, what the fuck?
Dude, I'm trying to remember some of the ones I had. I had weird ones, like, you know, Paper Wings. Builds, like, you know, like I had weird.
It builds character, and it builds like ambition.
Yes.
And it as long as you have a positive, as long as no bullies are like, you know, doing Cobra Kai stuff on your face, you know, because of what you wrote on your folder, then it is a positive thing, you know, whether it's fantasy or not. Like it gives you role models, whether they're real or not, you know, can be questioned, but
yep. So
they're not real role models. Musicians can never be real role models, but they can be art role models.
You know, I think you're right. I think they can't be. I think it would be really. They can be like idols, but not role models. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. They can be idols for sure. Salvador Dali. I mean, think about any artist, not just a musician. Put any artist in that. Banksy, you know. Put Banksy in there.
Right.
Is Banksy a role model? No. Man, he does some really awesome stuff. So yeah, I would say yeah.
I think when it comes down to it, the role models are usually Grandpa.
That's for sure.
Grandpa.
The war hero, you know?
Yeah.
Grandpa
yeah, the war heroes and things like
the
that.
The guy that worked at the grocery store for 50 years and your parents saw him every day and you see him every day.
Yep, not politicians, not artists.
Nah.
It's not people that do things
like, you know, Lincoln. Yeah, some politicians, but not, you know.
Yeah, he was a racist. He was a racist. Tear down all the statues, burn them all down to the ground. He was a racist.
Time is the great equalizer, bro. Given enough time, you know, on a long enough timeline, like Batman said, everyone becomes a villain, you know?
Yep.
Do you want to live long enough to see yourself become a villain, though?
But Batman, he is a sort of a villain. He's the one that made the comic book code come into play. because he was
vigilante for sure. You know, and
he was killing people in comics, and they're like, you can't have kids seeing that. You know, we got to make the comics have better ethics than that. So superheroes, those are some people you can look up to.
When you know a lot of censorship and stuff is going to return back like it was before, where we're not going to be so hyper reactionary about everything that we see and read. So we'll learn to self-censor a little better because we'll have learned that censorship, is a good thing when you're seeing X-rated shit on TV. But where does it end, right?
Yeah, the CCP and Pornhub can be on Twitter, but the sitting president cannot. Fuck.
Well,
Jesus.
It has to do with the ideas too. So,
but I mean, he's pretty much a porn star. So,
well, if porn,
I had a really bad nightmare with the day before that whole thing happened. I had this really bad nightmare that there was an apocalypse that happened. And my whole family was dead, but my mom and dad were still alive. My brother and his whole family, they perished because he's too Christian and too nice, and people took us home.
Wow.
But I was stealing a bunch of things during the looting, but within mind, I'm going to use these things for bartering. So I stole a bunch of GoPros, and anytime I almost got stabbed in the dream, so I traded a GoPro. And then I go and I get all the way to the front of the stage, and Trump's coming off the stage, given his concession. It's or whatever it was that was going to happen on the 6th or whatever. Yeah. And so I go and I shake his hand and I go, "You were a good president, even though you said stupid shit all the time." And I shake his hand, and he goes, "Thanks for being honest." And he goes into his changing room, and he comes out cross-dressed. And he looks better as a girl than a guy. And he goes back on stage, and the whole left goes, "Oh my God, we should have voted for Trump. He's a cross-dresser. Why did we vote for Biden? Trump is a cross-dresser." It was bad. It was like a nightmare. Well, it's all coming back. All the nightmares are coming back now that I'm not smoking weed. All the night terrors. I'm yelling in my sleep.
Jesus, because you're not smoking, man.
'Cause I'm not smoking. My wife said she's going to start writing it down.
Actually, a little bit of dreams aren't a bad thing, but nightmares are, can cross the line,
I pretty much have premonitive nightmares every night.
Do you sleep with the TV on?
No.
You don't sleep with anything on outside stimulus?
No, my wife can't tolerate that, like music or anything like that.
That's typical with women, right?
Yeah. But she wants a fan on, and I can't stand the sound of a fan. Or the blowing in my eyes get dried out even when I'm sleeping. So I can't have a fan. So we got a war going on.
I listen to a lot of audiobooks and stuff and crash out. So I don't know if I'm having a lot of dreams. I just haven't remembered a lot of them lately. I've had some of them. But yeah, dream journal is an awesome thing. I kept one when I was younger. It's kind of fucking weird, maybe pretentious, But
oh, I recognize this song. Oh, The Enemy, Anthrax.
Yeah, that was a great song, man. I worked on that, recorded it. You inspired me to do that because we were going to do Black Lodge, remember?
The thing is with Anthrax is I was really into them, and when I was growing up and when I was getting into music, when I was playing guitar in the first, 5 years of it, I never met anyone that liked Anthrax. And this one guy, Hans Hanneberg, who was my roommate, I didn't really know the guy, but I needed 3 other roommates, and I had 2. So, and I knew that he played in a band with a co-bandmate of mine, and he was interested in moving out. So I invited him. And he said, "Yeah, I'll live with you guys. A bunch of musicians. Sounds great." So he moved in with us, and he brought us records. He had a bunch of Melvins and a bunch of Anthrax, and we got along. We were best friends for years from that. Great, and it was like, dude, somebody else that listens to Anthrax. Thank God I'm not the only one now.
It's like that too, because Anthrax's music is almost punk,
It is almost punk, and he's a punk musician.
Very sound to it though, and they all laugh. Scotty Ian is one of the most accomplished guitarists on the planet. Arms of Steel, Downpicking Master, you know.
His
And
riffs
some of the more
are so
classic sounds
juicy.
like SOD and stuff.
His riffs are rhythmically juicy.
Yeah, he has something. He has, I mean, from, again, many years of playing, but Anthrax, dude, love them. One of my favorite bands. Me and my friend Kevin, we were like the biggest Anthrax fans. I won tickets off of KNAC to go see him play here at the Long Beach Arena with Halloween and Exodus. I won like 6 tickets too, so I just rounded up a bunch of my friends. We all went down there and partied our asses off. And check it out. The tickets were all 16th row. So we're like right in front. I mean, that's pretty much, you don't want to get much closer.
There's
you can't
sweats
see the whole stage
dripping
there.
on your eyes. Chips of the
Oh,
sticks
yeah,
from the
such a
drums are hitting you in the
dude.
face. You're so close, dude.
Oh, and I mean, I've seen him a bunch of other times too, but that time was just really great.
The right group of people, the energy, the tornado of energy. Yeah.
Yeah, that was State of Euphoria, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
I'm
fuck
not
yeah.
exactly positive, but
Among the Living.
yeah, Anthrax, and to this day they influence my. I don't know. When you listen to my stuff, you can hear it. You know.
I was gonna
like
say,
my guitar
Among the
tones
Living
really fast,
influences
like
me so much because it's the king of intros. Among the Living. There's not a metal album out there with every single song has an amazing intro. You're like, what? These riffs don't even
Persistence
come
of
back.
Time also, dude.
These riffs don't.
Persistence of Time also.
Persistence of Time
is.
that's my favorite album by them. Persistence of Time.
They are the king of intros. Every song has an intro. You're right,
Dude, the intro on Belly of the Beast.
So when I recorded that song, I recorded everything with just a drum track that I made, and I wasn't happy with it. I showed it to a couple people, and they said, "Oh, you should get Bob to sing on it." And I was like, "Bob, yeah, you know what? Let me flash it by him." Bob wasn't very familiar with the song, so he was like, "Let me get back to you." It sat for 3 months.
Oh shit! He had to like listen to the song for 3 months.
No, I think he knew the song. He just wanted to, learn it. He was doing other stuff. He wasn't getting paid, so I agree. But out of the blue, I got a surprise.
Right, because it just came back to you like a long-winded boomerang.
The version that's published right now, it was even better than the one, because he went back and redid it again.
War Ensemble. Oh shit! I didn't even know. I heard this one earlier. Yeah, I heard this one.
On the day that I was going to publish that song, to the enemy.
Yeah. Are you there? Did I lose you? Did I lose you?
I think so. Did you?
For a second, I lost the audio on you. Couldn't hear you.
Don't lose me. Man, I was in the middle of a fantastic story, dude. You lost me. So Bob recorded that. He went back and recorded the vocals again.
Oh.
And he hit me up a couple weeks later, and he's like, "I'm good with this. Are you ready to publish it?" It didn't have a solo, so I was like, let me hit up Wall for a solo. And Wall was busy, so I was like, I need to do this now. So I did all the fucking solos on it.
Sweet.
And then I shot it back to Bob, and he said, "Hey, this guy Ezra is a really good drummer. You should have him take a look at it and see if he'll do it." So I hit him up, and he did it in one day or one take, basically.
Yes.
He knows the song very well.
Yes.
Sent it back to me. I sent it back to Bob for having him mix it. All of it basically was done within the span of, I would say, a day.
Yes.
All told,
a solid 24-hour period, and it's all fleshed out from something that you didn't even think was going to be decent, right?
Yeah, and look at it. I mean, it came out pretty massive. I sent it to Charlie on Facebook. I never got a response from him, but I felt
Charlie?
bad for sending it to him. Charlie Benani, the drummer from Anthrax, bro. I'm friends with him on Facebook.
Oh, on Facebook. For some reason, I was like I think you meant on BandLab, and I was like, wait, he's on BandLab? I was like, wait, what? I'm sending him my tracks for drums.
I have this idea about forming a separate website like BandLab where you create music, but it's specialized for metal. And we lure big names like Gary Holt from Slayer,
Yes.
big guitarists and people to come in and they fork a track, and we pay them to fork the track, right?
Right.
And then subscribers come in and they pay for the track. So they pay like, $2 for a track from Gary Holt, and then they can do what they want with it.
Right.
Meanwhile, we're paying Gary and we're making money. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And in the meantime, it's attracting other metal players because they're like, hey, COVID, I'm not touring right now.
Right.
Or even if they're touring, who doesn't want a couple extra bucks,
Fuck yeah. Snoop Dogg will come rap on your track for $500. Snoop Dogg is
like
cheap. It's $500 is a lot, but still, it's pretty cheap at the same time. How'd you get big? I paid Snoop Dogg $500 for him to rap on my track, and I dropped it on YouTube. Fuck.
But if it was framed in the right way, and you had enough backing, enough people to subscribe, you could make a lot of money off that, and support a really good community too.
Yep, that would be cool.
You just have to start it from scratch, and that's the thing. It's like here,
if that was Dave Mustaine's idea instead of Gimme Radio, he might have had even better success with that whole thing. Because he was trying to create like a new radio system, that Gimme Radio or whatever, all based around metal.
But I will definitely check it out, man.
Yeah, he asked me after a show, "You guys still got radio stations? Because they're all gone in California." And I said, "Well, we kind of do. We got this underground one, 104.9. He's like, "Oh, I'll have to go check it out when I get into a hotel." But he's like, "You think that people want metal radio because it's kind of gone?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think people do." And he gives me a guitar pick, which I still have. People do.
Think about something like that. Is you just need to roll the dice and do it or not. Don't. There's no in between. It's like the Yoda thing. There's no in between when it comes down to something like that. It's polarizing. So. If you talk about it a lot, then it dilutes the power of it. But if you do it, all of a sudden, if I told you, hey, yeah, Dave Mustaine, or you told me, hey, Dave Mustaine has this radio station, you're like, what?
Yep.
No way, and dude.
Yep.
We've been talking about it all the time. Did you hear Dave, what Dave said the other night, man? Oh, my God.
All he had to do was one tour where he mentioned it probably every show, and then did it. And then people knew about it.
It's like personalize a video and just say, hey, fuckers, this is Dave Mustaine. I got this new radio station. Listen to it or die.
He did that. He did that. I saw it on my Facebook like 4 months later. I was like, oh, fuck, he did it. And, yeah, I've listened to it like once a month ever since. Not a lot. I don't really listen to the radio a lot. I got BandLab.
But I don't listen to radio anymore, but I know what you're saying. Yeah. It could have been something big.
If his idea wasn't radio, but was more of something between radio, like what I'm doing, and BandLab for metal, all for metal, it really could have apexed because people like the social side of all this stuff. It makes it like a reality TV. Reality TV was the 90s.
He's not the greatest ambassador for an idea like that because, let's just face it, he held fucking hate in his heart for many, many years, man.
Yes, yeah.
But it gave us some great music,
Yeah.
And he's not the same as he was back then, so.
Right. Right. I like the guy. I like his lyrics. I think his lyrics are phenomenal. His singing isn't amazing, but his lyrics are awesome.
He's another one of those really polarizing people that you just love him, man. He's like I said, he's controversial, but he's a great guy, and he means well, and I can separate an artist from their personal life. Tom Cruise is a total fucking prick. You know what I mean? But he makes great movies. So what? That's the thing. There's people. There's this thing going around right now where people are kind of propping up Johnny Depp in this relationship that he had with Amber Heard.
Yeah. And
they're trashing the shit out of her all. But come on, man. When was Johnny Depp a fucking role model? When was Johnny Depp an angel?
Yeah.
Separate the personal life from the private life.
Right. Right.
These people, they're normal people. Like them or don't like them, but don't put them on a pedestal and shit.
Yeah. Come on. Dude, think about this. You're dating a girl, you're dating a girl.
There's an actor alive that I like personally because I don't fucking know him, man.
No, I don't know him. The one I like the most is right now is probably Kurt Russell, because what he said the other day was, they kept bugging him about his political stuff, and he said, "Shut the fuck up! I'm an actor. Who cares about what my politics are? I don't condone or support anything publicly because I'm an actor. I'm a jester. I'm a court jester. I don't comment on the king's affairs. I make entertainment. I'm here to entertain." Mel Gibson,
Mel Gibson is like another guy. What a prick in real life, right?
But I like him.
Movies,
his movies are good.
He's great. And what he says, it's none of my fucking business if he calls his wife a prick,
Sean Penn, Russell Brand. These are people I like because they, even though they might be a little bit off the wall, they're not, they're not afraid of being themselves at expense.
We can separate. It's easy to separate, like, when you think about it, like, I can like a person for what they do on film or what they musically do.
Right.
And separate what they do from their real life. It doesn't matter to me. Like, I mean, it matters. Obviously, things that they do could piss me off or, like, are offensive. But, like, do I choose to be offended by every little fucking thing that I don't know, you know?
No. And with Johnny Depp, though, I just think of this. Dude, that guy's an actor. That guy's somewhere between a regular guy and a privileged guy. He's somewhere between regular, like he grew up regular, and at some point he worked his ass off, and then he became privileged. But the whole time he was trying to be weird. So he's a weird guy who used to be regular and then now is privileged. But no matter what, there's this weird. He's always gravitating towards weird.
He wanted to be an artist his whole life. So
and he gets a girlfriend.
To him, he considers himself more of an artist than he considers himself an actor. And I kind of get that.
But I'm just saying, what I was going to get at is this. He gets in an argument with a girlfriend, and we all attack him. Who hasn't had a crazy girlfriend or a girlfriend that was a bad mix? That was a bad mix that they ended up married to or whatever. Who hasn't had a divorce? Who hasn't had a bad breakup? Who hasn't gotten to that point? Did she have cuts on her face? Did she have a broken arm? No, he didn't fucking beat her like some drunk with his wife.
And that's the thing, like,
scaring his kid into the corner. No, he's not a bad guy. He's just a guy who's like had a bad day.
He's a dude. He's a normal guy.
Yeah, and we're like,
a human being. Like,
he can't be in movies anymore. He shouldn't be in any movies because
it's like, what? Give me a break, dude. Give me a break.
That's the thing. Himself from somebody like Tom Cruise because they have no access to him at all. Like, you don't him.
Right. Wait, I lost you again. You're putting your hand on the microphone.
Sorry. You hear me now?
Tom Cruise, though. That guy's elitist.
People can separate themselves from him, separate his personal life from his movie life.
Right.
Because he has no fucking personal life. You don't hear about it at all.
No.
He's buried in Scientology.
Yep.
But if you heard about it, guaranteed people would be judging everything that he did, and they'd be like, "Oh, did you hear what he said to his wife? What a prick!" You know. When he was older, that's the way people are, and I hate it. So the whole thing to me, I just kind of like, mind your own fucking business. Everybody mind your business. If you like somebody, like what they do on film, support it. If you don't, then don't. Don't try to convince me to hate somebody. Like,
if Kate Hudson all of a sudden disappeared and we never saw the kid and we never saw her again, then I'd be like, okay, maybe I'm not going to watch his movies anymore. But honestly, she got divorced. She walked away. I'm not going to be like, I'm going to know. I don't know the guy. He could be a mama's boy. He could be the nicest guy. I don't know him. Just because I don't know him, and people are like, people will write you off for anything these days.
Again, like, I like Dave Mustaine. I like his music. Don't know shit about him personally. Don't care.
Yeah.
I like.
Don't
his
care.
Music, I like Tom Cruise's movies. He's a fucking awesome actor. I know for a fact he's a big asshole.
Yeah.
Doesn't affect me.
It's called privilege.
Right.
It's like made for action movies. Like, he found his forte.
Right. It's funny, dude. It's funny.
So, that's another thing. When you find your niche in life, man, it just like you bloom. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you become more than the sum of your parts. Like.
Yep.
And that's, I think, what we're trying to do with our art, with our music, is trying to, like, ascend.
Yep. And it's like, These guys are artists. These actors are artists. And the great ones, they're just like Yngwie Malmsteen or Eddie Van Halen. They let it flow right through. They don't get inhibited in the scene. It feels real when you watch it. Mel Gibson, The Man Without a Face.
And that's another thing too.
That'll make you cry. Man Without a Face, that's a great movie.
Oh God, yeah.
Nobody,
that's pretty good. I mean,
he couldn't have done that if he wasn't Braveheart. He couldn't have done that.
In Braveheart, it's not when he's getting killed. It's when he's with the girl, the French girl. Man, it brings a tear to my eye because she's like, you're gonna die, and he's like, tell the king that I don't give a fuck. Like, wow. Dude.
Takes a couple hours to get there, but it's so good.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I mean about art. Like, dude's acting in a fucking movie on film. There's probably 100 people around him,
Yeah.
And yet, like, we're transformed to another place, another time, like somewhere that only exists in our mind,
Yeah.
And that's what music does too. Like, good music can like take you out of, fuck, my wife's yelling at me, my kids suck, my job is hell.
Yep.
5 minutes alone in a bedroom, with music cranked up.
Driving in the car or walking on the streets with headphones on or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter. Like 5 minutes, usually that's about,
I used to love taking a walk and listening to Suicidal Tendencies, Slayer, or what's that song? White Zombie's Dragula. Dude, I don't know why, but it's just singing that song, Dragula. You get to do the in your voice, just go walk the street and sing some White Zombie.
Metal karaoke, Chris?
What was that?
You ever do metal karaoke?
No, but I should do more metal karaoke.
There's a dude. That's
Mother,
not a bad idea. Well, so like certain
tell your children not to walk my way.
They'll have a band set up on stage, right? And like you go and this is before all this bullshit, but like you'd go to this bar and there'd be a band up there and they'd have a list.
Yeah.
Pick out a song, they sing a song, you sing it, dude. And it's like band sucks, but like you get to sing a fucking metal song,
Hell yeah.
Forever, you can bring your friends there and just sit back and be like, be a fucking metalhead tonight, bro. You deserve this,
I wish that more karaoke bars just had better metal selections. I'm always looking for the Judas Priest.
I got an idea for you, man.
Yeah.
Why don't we start like a karaoke blog where we do like karaoke songs? We'll dedicate each show to a different band and like, do some live to it. Dude, it could work,
I need a better computer than I can do that. I gotta get this better computer. I'm on a laptop. Barely works.
I hear you, man. I have a monster machine right now.
I need to make a monster machine. I swear it's less than $500 probably to make a monster machine these days.
I spent about $1,200, dude. So I mean,
you could have got a Kiesel guitar, dude.
Well, I mean, I can still get a Kiesel guitar.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're not married. Tax return, dude.
yeah. I mean, I've been looking at shit. I upgraded all my shit. I went from having 0 guitars 2 years ago to having 4 guitars now. And they're all, stuff that I use daily.
Yep.
I got a bass. Like last month, I got a new bass, a Yamaha. It's really nice.
Hell yeah.
Man, I've had like, I feel so good about this. Like, it lights a fire under me every day. So I feel like when I'm not creating music, like.
Did I lose you again? It's cutting in and out a little bit. When you're not creating music, you're still blank, still not hearing you. Shit. Can't hear you still.
Hello?
There you go.
I think what's happening is my phone is timing out after a certain amount of time.
Oh, the screen goes off.
Yeah. And if I let it sit for like 15 minutes, then it goes.
Yep.
Anyways, yeah, I feel like when I'm not creating music, it's wasted time. Like, I'm wasting my time. And I'll feel guilty about it. I'll be like, I should be doing something,
Right.
How come I'm not, like, making music, man?
I get that, too. I get this feeling like I could have created something today. Sometimes, I gotta give it a few days of, like, the juices build up, or whatever. But,
yeah.
usually what happens is it's like, then I can't catch up,
like,
you know?
I
It's
feel
like, yeah, I can't catch up in time because, yeah, I got 3 ideas and they don't work in one song.
I got 50 plus songs right now on BandLab that I have not published, dude, and they're just sitting here. I went through a bunch of them today. There's probably more. I can only go back to like September, so.
And then it crashes.
Fucking. No, it doesn't crash. I can just get sick of fucking opening new tabs. I got like 40, 50 tabs open at that point. I'm like, yeah. And my computer, like, you saw it right now, I got over 150 tabs open, like videos, like songs,
right.
You know. They can handle it, but
yep.
It's just messy. There's a chance that I might not ever get back to that tab if I open that many, you know?
Right. Yeah. I know how it is. I don't have that many unpublished. I just when I'm done, I publish it. But I have like this thing where I like start making a song, but I don't record it, and then I'm like, I'll record it later, and then it just sits there. And then what I'll do is I'll go like, you know those 2 ideas? I'm gonna make those into one song, so then I don't have to do 2 sittings. I'm gonna make that one song.
JP Jr. What's up, folks?
Yeah, JP Jr., DK, Tonus, Jason McKinley. We got a bunch of people watching the show.
Awesome, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And girls.
Yeah. Girls, you must be talking about DK. Hi, DK. How you doing? Just kidding, dude.
I don't know about that, man. But yeah, I mean, you're the monster. You're a king of like publishing shit, and a lot of times that influences me. I'll see you publishing like 10 songs, and I'll be like, I feel guilty, man. This song's been sitting here for a day, and I'm like, fuck. We should put bass on it right now. But you know, like, I'm super hypercritical of my own shit, and like, I love it when I play it. It's for me, but like when I show it to other people, I expect like a level of criticism that's absent from BandLab, and. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, like, what you would get from your friend sitting there going, oh, well, the bass is way too fucking loud.
Yeah.
And, well, that vocal is just off the charts bullshit, you know, start over.
Yeah.
I want to hear some of that sometimes.
My best critical feedback on BandLab was this. Hey, dude, your B and your E are out of tune. And it was on like a killer song. And I'm like, no, I didn't use the B and the E on that song. And then I listened to the chorus. I'm like, oh wait, I used it on the chorus on one track, and I'm like, on 1 out of 3 tracks, he heard it. What the fuck? I go back to my guitar. I go to turn the tuner on, and the B and the E are like flat by like 15 cents. I'm like, what the fuck? How did this guy hear that? And then I tune it up and re-record those parts, and then I was like, thank you very much. You were right.
Tonight, listening to some of these songs, dude, I'll be like listening and going, "Oh God, that bass is flat."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll be like, "Oh God," but I don't hear it from other people, and like, that's a big step in music. Like, okay, so like, name anybody. Well, this is a badly thing. You need criticism in your life, or else when the time comes for real criticism, you will fall to the ground and cry. You know what I mean? You will not be prepared for it, nor will you be able to learn from it, because you'll not know how to learn from it.
Yep.
So your friends telling you suck might be a thing. They might be legit, though. Like, depending on what they know. Is your friend like a metal fucking head? Does he know everything?
Right.
Then him criticizing you is a good thing, because whether you want to hear it or not, it's going to help you get better. You just need to like learn to adapt.
Here's the thing. I used to share my music with people. I used to share it before. I would get criticisms. I had this one musician, drummer. He was like, he was signed. He had a record label. He put out 2 records. Didn't work. And now he's working at Blockbuster at age 50. And I show him my songs while we're counting the till. And he goes, so did you record the bass and the guitar after the drums? And I go, yeah. And he goes, okay, because the bass and the guitar are kind of like a 32nd of a note early. Everything's early that you do. Everything's a little bit early. I'm like, okay, cool. I thought to myself, if I record the drums, it'll be early too, and it'll all be in time. And I did a recording of the drums as me recording it afterwards, and it was all in time, and I showed it to him, and he's like, yeah, there you go. It's all early now. I'm like, fuck. It's all early. He can tell it's all early.
Yeah. See, there's the danger. See, like, you have to learn to, like, there's such a thing as like real criticism, and then there's like false criticism. False criticism is just meant to tear you down, basically.
Yeah, that's like a troll.
Well, yeah, I mean, even if they don't realize it, like, yeah, they don't want you to succeed, whether it's conscious or subconscious. They're telling you your song sucks for no general, no real reason. It's just generally, it sucks.
Yeah.
And
I've had bandmates that are like that. They're like, this sucks. And then like 3 weeks later, after they couldn't make anything, they're like, can you bring that song out? Let's play that song. I'm like, I thought you said it sucked. No. Well, no, it's good. I was, and then sometimes, and then here's another thing. People like you and me, we played in bands. Maybe we had enough criticism that, I mean, I'm not saying that we don't do anything wrong, but we have enough criticism that we self-evaluate and we hearken back to all those criticisms and we self-evaluate enough that it brings us to a level where it's hard for most people to notice anything wrong with it. They see it as perfect.
It's true. So that, I said that wrong. I didn't mean like people are saying that it sucks. It's the exact opposite. Everybody's apathetic and they're like, you're great.
Here on BandLab, it definitely has this vibe where if you don't got something nice to say, just wait till you have something nice to say, and only say something nice. And if you don't have something nice to say, just say awesome song. And you're like, oh, well, it's not bad because it feeds you to keep going, but at the same time, as it doesn't help you construct.
There's a place for that too, Chris. Like that's just like mild criticism. That's not even criticism. That's just liking something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
And you can like something without being critical of it, but I prefer people to I like when people tell me exactly what they like. And the same, I don't get butthurt when somebody tells me, hey, I don't like the drum sound there. That sucks, Yeah. That's helped me a lot to try to do better and because we get stuck in our own ideas. Like you said, we are pretty far advanced. I've played for 35 years now. You played for 25 years, 20 years,
Yeah. Yep.
That's a lot of time, and we probably put in so much time that we're our own worst critics. Nobody can tell us what sucks about what we do. We know it already.
Right, and I've heard it so many times that at least I'll take it with a grain of salt. But
we'll take it the other direction too. We'll also be you really don't know me that well, so thank you for the opinion, but I know better. And and by doing that, we kind of are dismissing, something
a growth moment. Right.
Yes, exactly, dude. A moment that we could and I talk about this all the time with Mad Cracker and Wall, and I tell them, I want real criticism. I don't want somebody just telling me, so tell me what, and they'll just, you suck, your fucking voice is too loud, basically, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
And that for me is a real eye opener. I want to hear that, because then immediately I can get to work. I can get back in mixing and it puts another fire underneath me in the same way that hearing you publish something really good makes me go, oh, I want to record, So the dynamics are there. We have it in place with BandLab. It's just we need to stop being maybe. It has a lot to do with communication. Because of the format that we have, not everybody can communicate what the idea is. So I might say, hey, this is good. What I mean is, this is fucking amazing. This is going to change my life. I listen to this on my car stereo every fucking day,
Yep. Yeah. And then you know what? I think definitely BandLab needs a little bit more of that. And the BandLab team needs to get better at that. The BandLab team needs to get better at that when it comes to picking winners in the contest. But I don't think they're doing contests anymore. I have this feeling
they're hands off completely. They don't give a fuck. I mean, we run the community basically at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Right. The people do for sure.
Yes, if it wasn't for me or you, BandLab would be nothing. It'd just be them. Seriously, that's all they would do it. And the same thing. John didn't really want to talk about it, but I'm going to bring it up. That whole copyright issue that we had with the guy Equinox stealing songs from us.
They were so hands off on that.
The whole thing, I went, dude, and I was like a bulldog sending DMCA notices to YouTube and Spotify and every other service honored my takedown notices almost immediately.
Yeah, but not BandLab.
BandLab.
BandLab is interesting because here's the thing with BandLab is if there was a guy who was suicidal, they wouldn't do anything about it, right?
No, I'll tell you why.
If there was and here's another thing: if there was some lady saying, "Nigga that, nigga this, nigga that," all over her page, they're not going to take it down. It's racial comments that should not be on this application, right?
I agree.
It says right in their services you can't do that kind of stuff, and then they don't do anything about it. But then someone says BandLab is a bunch of assholes, and they get their check mark taken away, and they get banned for 2 weeks.
I know. I'm sorry that happened to you, brother.
And then not just me. Also happened to Savage Endgame. He had 35,000 followers, and he said, "You guys are a bunch of assholes, and you guys are in bed with Felipe. He's, and Felipe's a fucking FBI fag or whatever." And they totally deleted his account.
There's another problem with that type of contest too, Chris. It's popularity based, and so it can always be rigged. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's a big problem. Like,
I tried my best to rig it to make them realize.
Yeah, I'm having a medal contest. Let's have this guy, fucking, Big Joe Blow, fucking Joe Satriani come in and judge it, or whatever.
Right.
Until they can do something like that, then.
Yep.
Also, in the contract that you sign when you sign up for BandLab.
Yeah.
When it talks about the phrases in use in their contracts are user, but it also says, okay, I'm sorry, I misrepresented that. It says anything that you use on BandLab can be used by BandLab, meaning that every song that you publish on BandLab, if something happens to it, it becomes commercially profitable, they have the rights to it. Meaning my copyright doesn't mean shit to that song that I just, supposedly made $1 million off of, because BandLab...
I think you have it a little bit twisted. Put it like this. If you got signed onto a record deal, they would make you get rid of your BandLab account. Because then it wouldn't be on BandLab anymore, because BandLab deletes the stuff that's on your account when you ask for it to be deleted.
The stuff that I've made already, they already have a claim to by me agreeing to their terms of service. So be wary about what you publish on BandLab.
Right, but
because it becomes
how do they know? How do they know the person that publishes it later with a company and a contract was the person that put it on BandLab?
Again, they're pussies, so they probably wouldn't fight it.
They would never fight it, and this is why they would. This is what they. And I have copies of their statements. This will be my immunity to this. Is that. And now I do think they do play some certain things from the app on Asian radio stations without a permission. I do believe that happens.
The problem is, Chris, me or you would not be able to fight BandLab because we don't have the money to pay for lawyers to, you know what I mean? They would sink us in court.
If BandLab was using us,
$5 million.
Yes.
What's that?
If BandLab was using us, and we were small guys, and they were using us for a big use, that's fine. Then we wouldn't be able to do anything about it. But if we were big, BandLab would cave right in. So if we ever made
that's the problem.
They would cave right in.
We're not big.
We're not big. So why do we care anyways? But when we're big, we'll care, and it won't matter, and they'll cave. And this is what I know. This because I asked them this question. I said, "What happens if somebody's suicidal or something?" And they go, "We have no way of verifying who people are. Even if they have a tip jar, we have no way of verifying who they are."
Yeah.
I go, well, then you don't know that I actually published this music. So once I publish it somewhere else, and I tell you to delete my account.
Hands-off approach to copyright, bro. I had to fucking argue with Mike about it because he said this Equinox guy posted a song, a direct lift of one of, the songs that we did on BandLab.
Yep.
And did nothing to it. Just put it, relabeled it, put a fucking video on YouTube, Spotify, all these accounts.
Yep.
He said that according to BandLab, it was okay because it falls under the use of cover. But I told him, that he's not a judge, he's not a copyright lawyer, and it's not up to him to judge, it's just up to him to fucking take it down,
Right.
And he argued with me, and I got really fucking mad, and I told him, well, I didn't mean to tell him, but I wrote in the chat on accident, this Mike is, and I think Mike hates me because
I said this to Mike one time, and he's still cool with me. Mike don't ever fucking come on my comments. You're just a little bitch. I don't care about anything you say, blah, blah, blah. I basically said, there's nothing valuable about who you are. And then later when I featured him on the blog, he was like, dude, cool, thanks for the feature. You got a good ear. That was from the 50s. So he doesn't take it personal, even though he's at least good at disconnecting it as his job, you know?
That's the problem. He doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You know?
He's like the guy at Blockbuster who's assigning late fees. And then you tell him, those aren't my late fees. He's like, I don't care.
Fucking out of touch, that's all.
Yeah, he just
doesn't, like, he lives in Singapore. Who knows?
Yeah. I got nothing against the guy, but I got plenty against the guy. And he's fine at what he does, and he's, you know.
He put me through a bunch of shit with the copyright thing, and it made me go through a lot of extra steps that I probably would have had to take anyway, but
yeah,
they could have made it easier, and that whole thing would have turned off somebody that wasn't familiar with copyright. Like somebody like Evelyn's Gate was like lost. He didn't know what to fucking do, dude. Yep. I had to file copyright with the fucking U.S. Patent Copyright Office. Cost me money out of my pocket and shit because BandLab refused to do anything, you know.
Right.
But again, I've been through this shit before. I had another guy try to steal my songs and had to sue, basically sue a record company and had everything stricken and removed and then republished in my name. Fucking hell, dude. Jesus Christ, people.
Think about this. Every time I do this blog, I never ask anybody for their... I just start playing their music, putting it on the web, the radio show.
I mean...
I'm as bad as them, but, you know...
Trying to sell it as your own. Trying to sell music as your own is a no-no.
I don't give a fuck who There's a certain line in the sand. Yep. And it's just 1 inch in front of my toe. You can get all the way up in my face, but when you start kicking sand in my eyes, like that's when I'm fucking done.
Yeah. I just know that I would rather fight when it's something small than have to fight when it's something big. If this turns into something big, I'm not going to be able to fight it. But right now, I'm at the user level. I can be like, stop all future fucking use. And I did. That dude is shut down. I went to his web service provider. I mean, the guy was a total scumbag, bro.
Yeah. And I started WhatsApping with his ex.
Karja?
Yeah, Karja. Back when Mr. Chesta left. I don't know if you heard about that. You know who Mr. Chesta is, but he was doing this thing. It was kind of like it was called Expanding Horizons. It was a different page. And it's kind of like the blog, but it's playlists.
I'm weary of all contests on BandLab, so
Right.
But yeah, I saw it. It looked like an interesting thing. I was kind of following it.
Yeah.
And then disappeared all of a sudden.
Yep. Well, he had one troll come after him.
And one bag egg can ruin it if you don't know what to do, man.
Deleted his whole account.
Like him, I wish I could have helped him, man. Really, because I have a lot of experience with this kind of cyber stalking bullshit, man.
Yep. And you know what?
I've had ex-girlfriend hacking my accounts. I've had to file reports of
what I was
bullshit.
going to get at is BandLab's accountable for that. He was a great service that people liked, and he had a check mark, and he deleted his account because he asked for them to help him, and they're like, the guy's fine. The guy, you block him. And he's like, no, I don't want this guy talking bad about me. And they're like, you block him. It's your responsibility to make him stop, not ours, basically. And he was like, okay, delete my account, delete my Expanding Horizons. And they're like, okay, fine. We don't care about that. So they have a certain kind of disconnect, and we can't make them be connected. We can't make them be like us. As much as we want them to be, they're running this like even though they say they'll never sell it and it'll always be here, they're running this company like it's being traded on the stock market or something.
No, that's the problem. They're not running it like a business. They're running it like some kind of fucking family thing. And there's no room for expansion in the way that they're doing it. It's stagnant. For 2 years now, this shit has not gone anywhere.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not ranting about it. I'm trying to be critical of it in a good way. So don't mistake what I'm saying as something
if
bad.
They're listening, think of this like when you tell somebody their guitar's out of tune. It's just a helpful criticism. We're not doing it because we hate you. We love you, and that's why we want you to be better. Okay, BandLab. Note to BandLab.
People will mistake a lot of the things I say. Well, I wouldn't say a lot, but a lot of times people mistake what I say. Oops, shit, I unplugged my phone. Take it the wrong way because of the tone that I take. Like I'm railing about something, I'm ranting and shit. But that's just, I'm passionate about certain things in the way that I speak. That's all. Doesn't mean that I'm like, angry or like, This helps with metal, man.
Yeah. Well, I think someday something cool will happen with BandLab. Something. I have a feeling. It's like a premonition or like a pipe dream.
Well, we just keep doing what we do and bringing more attention to it as much as we can, being inclusive and help trying to be as smart and as nice as we can to everybody and keeping our arms open and always looking out for the unique individual. That's what I do. I'm looking for like the person that stands out. I like a lot of female singers, so like I'm looking for a girl singer that just like shreds. Haven't found very many, but like I'm on a quest.
I'm not into female singers, but I played it with a lot of female singers in my bands in real life. And I got tired of them.
Yeah.
I got tired of them.
I'm thinking more extreme metal singers.
Like Ginger?
So exactly, like Tatiana falls exactly into that category.
Ginger meets the Evanescence.
I don't want someone using their vocal cords. I want them using all false chords all the time. So they sound like me, but better. That's what I love about female singers,
Yeah. Someone asked me, if you had to play one guitar the rest of your life, what would it be? And I showed him this one I have. I don't know if you've seen me show it, but it's an RG321 MH mahogany body, wizard neck, 24 frets with the Bill Lawrence Dimebucker and a bridge position JB in the neck, and it has a 5-way switch. So the second switch, it goes from the Dimebucker to the inside coils in parallel, and it's just like the most amazing guitar for distortion or clean. That's the one. I'd pick that one. But I gotta have a bass too.
The amplifier this morning.
But I gotta have a bass too. I can't just have a guitar. Then I'll have to go find a bassist.
Now, bro, playing in like the flux capacitor, and I'm like, yeah, bro, but like, does it fucking jet?
Oh man, that's hilarious.
I love your equipment videos, bro. I love them all because I just don't have an equipment room. I have like a little center with all my shit just all around it. And so every time I turn on your video, I'm like, ooh, look at the little knobs over here. And fucking back there. And,
Dan Adams, Domain, said this. He said, I marvel at your setup. Sometimes I hope your kin set it up in a display like in a museum.
Oh, yeah, Dan. Nice. I see that. Hey, Dan.
That's awesome, dude.
yeah.
Well, shit, dude. That's an hour and a half. We should call it, dude.
Never. I will talk forever. No, it's been great.
Forever.
Seriously, we could. I mean, fuck.
This will be totally rewatchable.
Just make everybody go to sleep in the end, though.
This will be totally rewatchable. I'll send it to people like, hey, I don't know who you are. Oh, this is who I am right here. You want to know me?
Actually, I had a really good time, Chris. This was fucking amazing, dude. I
had a really
eye-opening experience. I've got to talk about some things I've had on my mind. I have more to talk about too, so maybe in a future show we could
hell yeah
do that.
Yep.
And, I'll always be talking to you every day anyway. So.
Yep. Sounds good, dude. I had a great time too. It went really well. There's a lot of energy, a tornado of energy going on today, man.
And all positivity too. Like,
yep.
We want to go to a good place. So again, I want to stress, like, I'm not being negative when I'm being critical. So.
Right. Being critical is constructive. It's how you get to a better place.
Yep. In the right context, you just need to, make it that.
Yep. You either go up the stairs or you go up the stairs faster.
Or you fall, man.
Don't fall, dude. Don't fall. I'm here to catch you, man.
Little elevators up, like.
I'll push you down onto the upward part of the stairs, bro. I ain't gonna let you fall.
Hell yeah. Get a rope. Get a rope.
Get a rope. rope. This guy's going off the edge. All right, dude.
I love you, man.
Yeah, same, dude. Love you too, man. It's a great show. Keep it real, dude. Keep it up.
All right. We are metal.
We are metal. Later, guys. Have a good night.
Peace out, everybody. Still there?
Maybe. Let's see. Nope. Gone. Hung up.